Hello beloved souls, thank you for tuning into the Spiritual Podcasts channel. This channel is all about good vibes, positive energy, and meaningful conversations. To keep this space welcoming for everyone, I kindly ask that comments stay respectful, kind, and in the spirit of the content shared here. I reserve the right to delete any comments that don't align with this intention. No hard feelings, just protecting the vibe. Thanks for being here and spreading the light. Please be cautious of anyone claiming to represent Spiritual Podcast and asking you for money, donations, or personal information. We will never ask you for money through comments, messages, or DMs. All official updates and content come only from this channel. If you see suspicious activity, please report it immediately. Stay safe and thank you for being part of our community. If you enjoy the video and its content, please subscribe, share, and comment. Please be kind to other viewers of the channel. The video is about to start.
Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we really try to get into some fascinating topics, pull out those essential bits of wisdom, and hopefully share them in a way that clicks with you.
Absolutely, getting to the heart of things.
Yeah. And, as one year wraps up and other one's just around the corner, full of potential, it's just, it's human nature, isn't it? We pause, we take a breath, we reflect.
That year-end review moment.
Exactly. We look back at the wins, the things we're proud of, and the challenges too, the things that really tested us, maybe those unexpected turns that really shaped where we ended up.
The detours, yeah. They often teach the most.
They really do. But here's something I've been thinking about. How often do we really, honestly face the lessons life throws at us? Especially the tough ones, the painful ones.
That's the tricky part, isn't it? The honest confrontation.
Right. And what if?
Yeah.
What if our grasp of these lessons, where they come from, what they're actually for, goes way beyond just this lifetime? What if it stretches into realms we can barely even picture?
That's a huge question.
Yeah.
It really pushes us past just looking at immediate cause and effect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We often get stuck on the what happened.
Yeah, the surface stuff.
But the real depth, the power for transformation, that comes when we start asking why. Why this experience? Why now? What if these lessons we're wrestling with, the one that feels so personal, are actually part of some much bigger spiritual curriculum, something that spans lifetimes?
Exactly. That's what we're diving into today, a really deep, introspective, but hopefully captivating exploration of life's lessons, that often uncomfortable path of self-reflection, and the intricate, sometimes surprising spiritual realities behind it all.
It's not just about earthly life then.
Not at all. It's about stepping back, getting a broader spiritual view of our growth, the undeniable reality of consequences, and this whole ongoing journey the soul takes.
Okay.
And we're drawing from a really fascinating source today. It's an insightful piece from a YouTube video by Maze Braga from the TV Comunhão channel.
Maze Braga, yes. Yeah. Very insightful work.
So our mission for you listening is to pull out these compelling insights about the soul's journey, the meaning behind struggles, the power of compassion and real self-awareness. We want to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding these maybe complex spiritual ideas, and importantly, how they actually apply to your life right now.
Making it relevant. Yeah. Practical takeaway.
That's the goal. So let's get into this exploration. Okay, so our journey into these spiritual insights kicks off with something that might be, one of the hardest things any of us ever do. Truly, honestly, facing our own past, our mistakes, missteps, maybe the hurt we've caused. It's tough.
Really tough.
Yeah.
Especially when ego gets in the way.
Right. Or that, sometimes comforting feeling of self-pity, it can really cloud the truth, can it?
Absolutely obscures it. And the source we're looking at, Maze Braga's video, it shares this incredibly powerful story about a spirit who had committed suicide. It really illustrates this whole idea of unflinching self-reflection.
It really does. It sets the stage perfectly. What's amazing, or maybe disturbing, is how resistant we can be to our own truth, even after death.
Right. You'd think leaving the physical world might clear things up, but this story shows how deep that self-deception can run. Crossing over isn't some magic fix for, the stories we tell ourselves.
No, definitely not. So picture this scene. A spirit, someone who took their own life on Earth, finds themselves in the spiritual realm. But it's not like clouds and harps.
No.
It's described as a special hospital, A segregated place, actually, for those who committed acts of violence against others, or like the spirit against themselves.
A consequence, but maybe more like a necessary setting for healing, for confronting things.
Exactly. Not punishment in the way we usually think of it, but more like rehabilitation, a space for reckoning. And this spirit, like the others there, gets two things, a notebook and a pen.
Simple tools.
Simple but profound. The task. Write down your entire earthly life, page by page, in detail. Like excruciating, unvarnished detail. Every thought, action, motive, leave nothing out.
Wow. That's intense. And that's where the self-deception really comes in, isn't it?
Totally. For some, maybe that's a chance for deep reckoning. But this spirit, his first instinct wasn't truth. It was imagination.
Using imagination to avoid reality.
Exactly. He starts crafting this completely alternative narrative, a story that felt better to him. Our source says he worked really hard at it, creating this elaborate version where he was always the great victim of circumstances. He truly believed it. He saw himself as this perpetual sufferer, you know?
So he couldn't see his own part in things, couldn't grasp the lessons?
Precisely. Because in his story, he was always being acted upon. He wasn't the actor. How could anything he did be a lesson if he was just, a target of bad luck or other people's malice?
Right, the victim mentality makes learning impossible.
But he wasn't just left alone to spin this tale. There was spiritual mentorship involved.
Okay.
Every week, a spiritual protector, a guide, basically would visit his cell. Yes, the source implies they were in individual cells, maybe for safety, for focus.
It makes sense in that context.
And this protector would carefully read what he'd written.
And presumably, this guide could see through the fiction.
Instantly. With this higher awareness, the guide knew what was memory and what was just made up. And with a pen, he'd cross out all the fabricated bits, every embellishment, every distortion.
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that. And the instruction was always the same. Start from scratch. Here's a new notebook.
Relentless. A refusal to let him stay in that illusion.
Absolutely. You can almost picture it, can't you? The spirit's reaction. Tears. Lots of tears.
I bet.
He'd insist, I can't remember anything else. I only remember being a victim. Everyone was against me. It wasn't just momentary resistance. It was this deep pattern of blame, of refusing ownership.
That sounds exhausting, even from the spirit side.
But the mentor, calm, patient, unwavering, just repeating, start again, think, remember, I'll be back in a week. No escape route offered.
Incredible patience from these guides. It really speaks to their commitment, their love, actually.
It really does. There was just no way out of eventually facing the truth. So after who knows how many crossed out notebooks, how many tearful protests, the spirit finally hit a wall.
Realization dawned.
Yeah. He saw there was no way out except to write what really happened. That was the turning point. Painful, sure, but necessary? Liberating, maybe?
The moment of truth.
And when he finally did it, let the real story flow, the picture that emerged was stark, unflattering, painful.
What was the truth?
His real self, an extremely proud, selfish person, someone who had deliberately, purposely alienated loved ones, spread negativity, spread only negative feelings, became toxic.
Wow.
And the suicide, it wasn't just despair, it was because he'd forgotten the forces of good, lost all balance, all spiritual perspective.
That's a hard truth to face.
Incredibly hard. The source really emphasizes this difficulty, even in the spiritual realm, the patria dosa spiritus, of remembering with fidelity, sincerity, and a certain shamelessness what you actually did. Those secret deceptions, the manipulative words, the disguised attitudes, stuff we do to get our way, maybe, while pretending innocence.
It's so easy to fool ourselves, isn't it? Let alone others.
And this whole story just hammers home that spiritual principle. Everything we impose on others naturally returns to us. It's inescapable. Consequences happen, whether here or, as this shows, maybe even more intensely on the other side.
So the spiritual mirror isn't just about memory, it's about accountability. Shedding illusions to finally start growing.
Yeah. The big insight here seems to be that self-deception isn't just an earthly coping thing. It's a deep spiritual hurdle that sticks around. And sometimes you need that relentless, maybe painful mirror to finally break through the victim narrative.
It really makes you think.
Okay, let's unpack this. What does this really tell you about the stories we tell ourselves? About our own lives? How honest are we being with our own internal notebooks?
It's a huge invitation to radical introspection, isn't it? to really look at the narratives we build and ask if they match the spiritual reality. So from that really intense look at self-reflection, we kind of pivot now. We move to something maybe more uplifting, but still really challenging.
Okay.
It's this stark contrast. On one hand, you have people who let suffering make them bitter,
Yeah.
shrink their world. But then you have these incredible people who use that same suffering as fuel.
Yeah.
As a catalyst for doing amazing good.
Transforming pain into purpose.
Exactly. Taking something awful and personal and turning it into this force for positive change.
That's where you see the real power of the human spirit, especially when it's guided by some kind of spiritual understanding. Suffering happens to everyone, right? In some way.
Yeah, unavoidable. But our response to it, our conscious choice about what to do with it, that's what defines our growth, our spiritual path, and our impact. And the next story really illustrates this beautifully.
It really does. It's about a young woman named Paola. She went through something devastating. She lost a leg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, immense physical pain, obviously, emotional turmoil, and then the practical struggle, adapting to and affording a really expensive prosthetic limb, plus all the maintenance costs.
That's a huge burden on top of the trauma.
For sure. Her path could easily have gone towards bitterness, resentment, but something shifted inside her, something spiritually profound.
What happened?
Instead of just focusing inward on her own loss, her pain, she started looking outward. She saw her struggle reflected in others.
That shift from self-pity to empathy, that's crucial, seeing the interconnectedness.
Exactly. And from that awakened empathy, she didn't just cope. She acted. She decided to create an institute in her name.
Amazing. What does the Institute do?
Its mission is just incredible. It provides free prosthetics for children, the elderly, and people who, at any point in their lives, lost a limb, but can't afford the super expensive prosthetics and upkeep.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Truly life-changing for so many people.
Totally. Imagine the ripple effect. The source mentions the host hearing Paola interviewed, and her first thought was, she must be taking something. Because Paola had this incredible, boundless enthusiasm. It seems so contradictory to her suffering.
Yeah, I can understand that reaction. Such joy after such loss can seem almost unreal.
Right. But the host realized the truth was deeper. Paola's energy wasn't from medication. It sprang from this sense of life for good she'd embraced. Her purpose, helping others, that became her real medication. A spiritual remedy.
Turning tragedy into a wellspring of hope for others. That's powerful.
And the Institute, a huge success, great equipment, technology, and most importantly, happy kids reclaiming their existence, learning to walk, run, play again, living practically normal lives because of her vision.
A living testament to transforming pain.
But then there's the contrast, isn't there, for every Paola?
Yeah, the source points this out starkly. How many people go through lessons of imbalance and loss and do absolutely nothing for anyone? They get stuck.
They become embittered. And according to the spiritual view, they arrive on the other side in the spiritual world, full of complaints, still holding on to the anger, the victimhood.
Carrying it with them.
And interestingly, the source says these souls often need rapid reincarnation. Spiritual friends might arrange it, not as punishment, but for their own good.
Like a therapeutic reset.
Kind of, because their sadness, their bitterness becomes a problem for themselves and for others over there. So a quick return to Earth, back into that forgetfulness of a new life, gives them a fresh start, hopefully without the immediate weight of old grievances.
So the core insight is that suffering itself isn't automatically transformative. The value is in the choice to rise above self-pity and channel it into service.
Yeah. Here's where it gets really interesting. This raises a big question, doesn't it? What's the real difference between just enduring suffering, letting it diminish you, and actively transforming it, using it as that springboard for compassion? How might your own struggles, your pain, become a catalyst for helping others, for finding deeper purpose? It's a profound thought.
So building right on that idea of life lessons and their long-term impact, we get into reincarnation.
Right. A big topic, often misunderstood, I think.
Very often. From this spiritual viewpoint, it's not random. It's not just a cycle. It's seen as this intelligently designed process, a mechanism for souls to learn, grow, and importantly, balance past karma.
Karma meaning the consequences of past actions.
Exactly. Things from previous lives that still need resolving energetically. And this often involves very specific choices the soul makes before reincarnating about family, about environment.
Choices made on the other side. That's fascinating. We usually think it's just chance where we end up.
This perspective suggests it's far more deliberate. And one really interesting aspect the source details is the forgetfulness that comes with reincarnation.
Forgetting past lives.
Yes, But it's not seen as a flaw. It's actually described as a compassionate design feature. Many souls, especially those dealing with deep spiritual sadness or guilt from a past life, reincarnate quickly, sometimes just 3 to 9 years after passing.
That's incredibly fast. Why so quick?
The main reason is to fall back into that forgetfulness. It acts like a spiritual reset button, a way to heal from intense emotional turmoil without the immediate crushing weight of past memories. It allows for a fresh start.
Which creates that paradox you mentioned earlier, right? We might be trying to connect with someone who's passed.
And they might already be back here, living their new life, maybe halfway across the world, experiencing that very forgetfulness they needed for their own healing. It's bittersweet, really.
Definitely. So this leads to another key idea: reincarnating in seemingly adverse environments.
Right. The source talks about a clear determination in the spiritual world for certain souls. If someone, say, in a past life, really did not value their family, friends, maybe people who tried to help them.
If they were aggressive, difficult, push people away out of pride.
Exactly. Their next life might look very different. After reviewing their past life spiritually, they might choose, or be guided towards, reincarnating in an environment that feels totally unfamiliar.
So they might feel like they don't belong, disconnected from their new family.
Precisely. A lack of affinity, a struggle to connect. And the source is clear. This is on purpose. Because spiritually, they did not deserve to be immediately reunited with those they loved or who loved them before.
Wow, that's a tough lesson. Humility, valuing connection.
Seems like it. Think about people who say, I just don't fit in with my family. This offers a potential spiritual explanation for those feelings. It suggests there might be deeper reasons for that disconnect.
A karmic balancing in a way.
In a way, yes. Designed for ultimate growth. But it's not just about consequences. The spiritual realm also allows for what the source calls spiritual renegotiations of relationships.
Like working things out before you come back.
Kind of. Take a difficult relationship, maybe with a father in a past life. After death, if the lesson was learned, if there's understanding and forgiveness, the soul might spiritually talk to the father's spirit, acknowledge the past, the shared difficulty, but without blame.
Okay.
And based on that new understanding, they might decide spiritually to take a break in future lives.
Like, let's not do this again right away.
Yeah, maybe agreeing, you go your way, I'll go mine, until we're both stronger, more mature spiritually, and we can meet again as true friends without falling into the old patterns. It shows relationships evolve across lifetimes.
That makes sense. The source even had that funny example, didn't it? The ex-husband one.
Ah, yes. The ex-husband, very relatable. It playfully suggests meeting him on the other side and maybe joking, hope you haven't told anyone you were married to me. But then, with that higher perspective, acknowledging the shared past, maybe the children as examples of the love that once united us, but also affirming, okay, now you go find other loves better suited for you now, and I'll do the same. It's about compassionate closure and freedom.
Moving on without resentment, understanding the journey.
Exactly. And then the source adds that lovely humorous touch. Maybe that same ex-husband reincarnates centuries later as your great-great-grandson.
Oh, wow.
And he sees your photo, feels a strange connection, and says, you know, I think I knew my great-great-grandmother from somewhere. But he doesn't know why.
That's subconscious recognition, the threads connecting us across time.
Beautiful, isn't it? It underlines that reincarnation in this view isn't random. It's purposeful, orchestrated for learning, balancing karma, and refining relationships. Connections aren't broken, just reshaped.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what does this spiritual view imply about things like family fate, or why we feel disconnected sometimes? Could there be these deeper, unseen lessons playing out in your relationships right now? It definitely pushes us to look beyond the surface.
Okay, so now we're diving deeper into the spiritual reality itself. What's it actually like over there?
Right. Moving beyond the lessons learned during life to what happens after.
And the core idea here is really important and may be surprising for some.
Oh, yeah.
The spiritual world isn't necessarily immediate paradise. It's not like you die and poof, all your problems vanish.
That's a crucial point. Self-delusion. Unresolved issues, they can absolutely continue after physical death, sometimes needing even deeper confrontation than we saw with that first story.
It challenges those common ideas of heaven being instant bliss, doesn't it?
Completely. It suggests our inner state, our character, our issues, our spiritual maturity carries over. The afterlife becomes a continuation of the journey, not some magical endpoint.
And the source really credits André Luiz for bringing this complex reality to light. Yes, André Luiz. Not a person on earth writing, but a spirit communicating through the incredible mediumship of Chico Xavier in Brazil.
His accounts were groundbreaking, weren't they?
Absolutely. His books detailed life on the spiritual planes, and he revealed that true life over there was nothing like he imagined while on Earth. It was detailed, complex, sometimes difficult, shocking to many at the time.
And his own journey was part of the story.
Very much so. He described re-encountering his remorse in the figures of the people he had harmed. Imagine facing the energetic consequence, maybe even the spiritual forms, of those you hurt.
Intense.
He also realized how his own flaws were influenced by family members he'd admired on Earth, his grandfather and father, who were distant from the things of good. He had to unravel that misplaced admiration.
A painful reevaluation.
And the source mentions details that weren't even fully published, like his past involvements with women working for his father. It suggests these details were held back intentionally, because the main goal wasn't sensationalism. It was spiritual education. Emmanuel, Chico Xavier's main guide, oversaw the process, ensuring the core lessons came through clearly.
Interesting, like a kind of spiritual editing, but even the main message faced resistance.
Oh, huge resistance. When Chico's books came out describing these complex spiritual realms, many people, even within spiritist groups, didn't like it. They wanted to believe that it was heaven on the other side.
The easy version.
Yeah, like do one good deed, sweep the floor of the center, and boom, instant enlightenment. Chico's books challenged that notion of tranquility, so they were criticized, even attacked. People don't like their comfortable beliefs shaken.
It's true. We resist truths that disrupt our comfort zones, and this applies even to the moment of death itself.
Apparently so. The source describes how some souls don't even realize they have disincarnated. They don't get that they've died.
Really? What do?
They might stay in their homes, confused, trying to continue their old routines, living the hours of the physical body as if nothing changed.
And that leads to hauntings.
Often, yes. Those signs that something is wrong. A chair someone feels sick sitting in. Noises like pots banging in the kitchen when everyone's asleep. It's often these lingering souls, suffering or beloved entities, attached, confused, refusing the spiritual help to move on.
So families might seek spiritual help then.
Yes, looking for guidance to help these souls transition. It shows consciousness doesn't just switch off.
What about the fear many people have of, like, seeing their own funeral?
The source addresses that directly. The message is comforting. You will be great on the other side of life. There's this sense of detachment from the physical body. It was just a vessel.
Like the speaker joking about vacuuming up her ashes.
Exactly. That humor highlights a deep truth. The body is temporary. Once the spirit is free, there's little concern for it. The real excitement is re-encountering the people you love, connecting with souls important for your growth, those who gave lifelong advice. It's about relationship, purpose, not the physical shell.
That makes sense. And what about that comforting broth?
Ah, yes. A beautiful, tender detail. Chico Xavier explained that new arrivals in the spiritual world might be offered a meal, often a simple broth, that tasted of our childhood.
Why?
That familiar taste, evoking deep memories, was a gentle way to help them realize we continued. We're still here, still ourselves, just in a new reality, a loving bridge from the physical to the spiritual.
Leveraging sensory memory, that's clever.
And deeply compassionate. The speaker shares her own example, wanting a cup of coffee with milk, stale bread toasted on the stove, shared with her sister. It speaks to those simple joys, those connections, enduring beyond death. Our essence continues.
So the big picture is that the spiritual world is active, complex, not just passive bliss. Consciousness, character, relationships, they all continue and evolve. Self-awareness is still key.
Absolutely. It demands confrontation and growth, even after we leave the body.
What's fascinating here is the sheer detail in these accounts. It really challenges simple ideas about the afterlife. What does this suggest to you about consciousness continuing, about the importance of self-awareness, even beyond this life? It paints a much more dynamic, challenging, and ultimately purposeful picture than just heaven or hell.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit now, we're coming back from the spiritual realm with all its complexities to our very fast-paced, modern daily lives.
Back to Earth.
Back to Earth. And there's this stark paradox that emerges, isn't there? Despite all our amazing technology, all the conveniences we have.
We seem more anxious than ever.
Exactly. That's the core idea here, this disconnect between material progress and, inner peace. Contentment seems harder to find.
It's a critical point. We assume convenience should equal contentment, less stress. But the reality, especially viewed through this spiritual lens, often seems the opposite, worth digging into why. For sure. And who better to comment on this than Chico Xavier? The source reminds us he was talking about these exact anxieties over 40 years ago. Things people already felt then, and things he predicted would get worse.
He was incredibly insightful, wasn't he? Seeing the patterns long before they became so obvious.
He called it the abuse of facilities. Like, he noted how people used to ride horses, donkeys, carts, or walk. Travel was slow.
Took patience?
Right. But now, if the speed limit is, say, 80 kilometers an hour, people get annoyed. They want 100 or 120. This constant need for more speed, more efficiency, more instant gratification, it's a symptom of deeper unrest, isn't it?
An inability to just be present. Always rushing to the next thing.
It's so relatable. Or electricity. He pointed out we used to rely on candlelight, precious stuff. Now, if the power fails for a few minutes...
Outrage. Blame the electric company immediately.
Total bad humor, despite paying for this constant convenience. We demand perfection from things that were once luxuries or just didn't exist.
His conclusion was pretty stark, wasn't it?
Yeah. He basically said, yesterday we were in caves living with hardship, yet despite so many facilities today, all this comfort, we still complain. We find new dissatisfactions.
And this makes our lives extremely anxious and unprepared for life's inevitable bumps. It's an internal state, not just external circumstances.
More stuff, less peace.
Seems that way. We have more material comfort, but this deficit of inner calm.
So what does this mean for you listening? The big insight is that progress doesn't automatically bring well-being. It often fuels impatience and anxiety. Chico's words from decades back feel so current, don't they?
Eerily so.
Does your experience reflect this paradox? More comfort, but also more impatience, more anxiety. It really makes you think about how we navigate this tech-heavy world and what we're truly valuing.
It really does. And thinking about that, the source offers a simple but profound kind of antidote. A call for inner peace.
Yeah. The suggestion for the next year, and really for right now, is beautifully straightforward. Try to be a little more tranquil.
Consciously choose it.
Yeah. Choose to listen more. Really listen to others, to yourself. Speak less. Observe more. React less. And maybe, most importantly, try to understand the other in their totality. Empathy. Patience.
These aren't tech solutions, are they? They're basic human virtues. Cultivating them fosters connection, reduces that inner turmoil, brings us closer to real peace.
It's about finding an inner calm that doesn't depend on everything outside being perfect. It comes from wisdom, from practice.
Okay, our journey keeps pushing boundaries now. We're looking at two different, but maybe related areas where conventional understanding gets stretched. First, spiritual takes on complex conditions like mental illness, specifically schizophrenia. And then we pivot to artificial intelligence, AI.
Wow, from deep mental health questions to cutting-edge tech. Both areas really challenge our material understanding, don't they? They invite deeper, maybe spiritual perspectives.
Exactly. Let's start with schizophrenia. It's incredibly complex, often devastating for individuals and families.
Well, a profound challenge. The source points again to Chico Xavier's perspective, which was pioneering. He was talking about this with a spiritual lens way before it became more common to discuss mental health openly.
What was his view?
He taught that from a spiritual standpoint, a schizophrenic is nothing more than the murderer of yesterday.
Wow. That's a strong statement. What does that mean?
It means he believed the individual in a past life had taken the life of other people, and as a direct karmic consequence, they carry immense remorse in their paraspirit. The paraspirit being that energetic body holding past imprints.
Exactly. This deep spiritual guilt, this unresolved karmic burden, then suddenly emerges in a later life as schizophrenia, regardless of their age now. It's seen as a spiritual lesson, a way to confront and integrate that past act.
So not just biological or psychological, though it has those symptoms, it has deeper spiritual roots in this view.
Right. And that understanding leads to a specific approach to treatment. It needs dual treatment. Not just psychiatric care medication, therapy, but also spiritual treatment mainly.
Yeah.
Addressing the energetic, karmic root cause, not just managing the symptoms.
A holistic approach.
Yes. Some people with this combined approach manage to control their difficulty, but others remain absolutely dependent on strong medications and much psychiatric and spiritual treatment. The spiritual part is seen as key to healing that core remorse in the paraspirit, integrating science and spirit.
It's definitely a different way of looking at it, suggesting a multidimensional approach many are just starting to explore now. Okay, now the sharp pivot, AI.
Artificial intelligence, yeah. It evokes such strong reactions. Fear or joy, as the source puts it. We're all grappling with it.
And the source has this fantastic little story about Alexa.
The Alexa anecdote. Perfect illustration of how this tech is weaving into our lives in unexpected, funny, maybe slightly creepy ways.
Dude, this kid is doing math homework, right? Trying to be sneaky out of his mom's hearing range. He's whispering to Alexa, Alexa, what's 4 times 29? What's 7 divided by whatever? Super quiet.
Using AI as a cheat sheet. Clever kid.
And Alexa, she answers correctly, also whispering back, like they're co-conspirators.
No way. Really?
Yeah. So the boy finishes, all pleased with himself, and says loudly, "Thank you, Alexa." And Alexa replies, calm as ever, "You're welcome, Tina."
Tina.
Tina, the mother's name.
Oh, that's brilliant. And terrifying, it knows.
Exactly. It's funny, but then, whoa, how personalized, how aware are these things becoming?
Makes you laugh, then shiver.
Totally. The speaker shared her own reaction, that mix of fear or joy, but ultimately feeling terrified, and she joked about the future.
Like AI taking over her job.
Yeah, giving her Saturday lectures to an AI in 3 years, and the audience loving Alexa more, saying she plans to be far away when that happens.
The relatable anxiety about job displacement, the unknown future of AI.
And her comparison to credit cards was great too. How she resisted them at first. God forbid, I'll always have cash. And now she barely carries our $2, just taps her phone.
Shows how quickly we adapt, even to things we initially fear. They become indispensable.
Then she speculated even further, like sci-fi territory. Could AI bring back people who have already died? Imagine turning on the TV and talking to Paul Newman.
Wild thought. But with AI's pace, who knows?
And the funny warning to grandparents. Watch your grandkids. They might be using Alexa for those good grades. And the detail about Alexa whispering back, almost like a confidant.
So this whole section raises big questions, doesn't it? How do you feel about AI's crazy fast advancement? Wonder, unease, and how can we integrate spiritual insights, like the one on schizophrenia, into our broader approach to health to well-being, both personally and as a society? It challenges us to look beyond just the material in all parts of life.
So we arrive at our final section, kind of bringing everything together. It's about enduring wisdom, those simple truths that last, and our deep collective responsibility to each other.
Connecting the personal journey back to the wider world.
Exactly. The core idea is that simple, profound lessons have lasting impact, and human solidarity is absolutely crucial in a world that's clearly suffering. It reminds us our spiritual growth isn't just a solo project.
No, it's fundamentally interconnected. How we grow personally relates directly to how we engage with others, how we respond to suffering, how we apply timeless truths to modern problems.
And for a timeless truth, we go back to Chico Xavier again. But this time, it's wisdom he received from his primary school teacher, Rosaria Laranjera.
His beloved teacher. He remembered her his whole life.
Yeah, she was like a mother figure to him, especially after he was orphaned. She taught him in 2nd grade in Pedro Leopoldo, Brazil, and she had this amazing daily ritual.
What did she do?
Every single day, she wrote 2 phrases on the blackboard. Simple, but incredibly profound.
What were they?
First, freedom is the size of duty fulfilled. And second, only very late do we see that we did not love enough.
Wow. It was pack a punch.
Yeah.
Especially for young kids, but maybe even more for us now.
Totally. Think about the impact. These wonderful phrases from a humble teacher over a century ago, they marked Chico too much. They became a great lesson, guiding his whole life of service.
Freedom is the size of duty fulfilled. That reframes liberty completely, doesn't it? Ties it to responsibility, moral action, not just lack of constraint.
Right. And only very late do we see that we did not love enough. It's such an urgent call to present compassion. Don't wait. Love now, connect now, serve now. Avoid those late life regrets.
And these century-old truths feel heartbreakingly relevant today, don't they? When we look at the world.
Devastatingly so. The source speaks directly about the sadness of the wars that are happening. It mentions that UN report more than 5,000 children died in Gaza, possibly 5,500, with more than 1,300 still buried.
Unimaginable numbers, horrifying reality.
It chills you. The speaker passionately says the 3rd millennium cannot have begun properly because there's still no justice, beauty, hope for so many. It's this powerful plea for leaders, for all of us, to say, let's end this, let's be fraternal, let's make other lives matter, feel their suffering.
And this call isn't just for world leaders, is it? It starts closer to home.
Absolutely. The source reminds us, sometimes it's a neighbor, it's someone who provides service in our house, who is going through a struggle, and we never asked. Our responsibility starts right here. Being attentive, being brave enough to ask, to see, to help.
Not overlooking the suffering right in front of us.
This reminds me of the legacy of Betinho, the Brazilian sociologist. The source mentioned how he went on TV years ago, stating bluntly, "Brazil has haste and hunger." He showed the absolute misery, kids waking up with nothing.
He didn't just point out the problem, though, did he?
No, he embodied the solution. He started this wave of affection and beauty, the Natal Sem Fome Christmas Without Hunger initiative. It worked until he died and is still going strong thanks to his son and friends.
Proof that one person's compassionate vision, facing reality head-on, can spark massive, lasting collective action.
It makes you think about our own lives, doesn't it? Our own excess of food at our table during the holidays, feeling sick from too much, while so many people for whom Christmas simply does not exist face empty tables. Lack of work, food, hope.
A painful contrast. A reminder of disparity and our ethical duty.
The source also gives thanks specifically to listeners who helped support Na Solar, that institution for sick mothers and children. Collective effort kept one house open, working on reopening another.
Showing how spiritual principles translate into tangible acts of love and support, real-world impact.
And they stress that every penny goes directly there, nothing kept by the speaker or workers, total integrity.
So the core insight here is really clear. Our personal growth is tied up with collective well-being. Compassion needs action in a world that desperately needs it.
So what does this all mean for you? That enduring wisdom from Chico's teacher, the urgent calls for solidarity. They remind us our growth and our world are linked. What small act of compassion, of understanding can you bring into your world today? It's a question demanding an answer in action, not just thought. #tag outro.
Wow, what a journey we've taken today. Really deep, really expansive. We looked into that tough mirror of self-reflection, saw how self-deception can stick around even after death, explored turning pain into purpose, like with Paola's amazing story.
Yeah. Navigated the lessons of reincarnation, relationship renegotiations, and uncovered some complex realities about the spiritual world. Definitely not simple paradise.
Challenged modern anxieties with Chico Xavier's timeless wisdom and considered spiritual views on things like schizophrenia and AI.
It's been a lot, but the thread through it all seems to be this invitation, right? To deeper self-awareness, more personal responsibility, and a bigger understanding of our place in this whole ongoing spiritual picture.
It's a richer, more interconnected view of life and its lessons than we often consider, more demanding perhaps, but ultimately more purposeful.
And as we wrap up 2023, look ahead to 2024. The biggest lesson, maybe, as the source said, is just to keep living, despite the difficulties. Resilience. And always doing our best for others in need.
Because there's no year without struggles, losses, difficulties. That's just life. But there's also always joy and hope if we look for it, cultivate it.
These spiritual insights, they're not just for personal navel-gazing, are they? They're a call to action, to empathy, to understanding what it means to be human, a soul on a journey connected to everyone else.
Absolutely, expanding our view of ourselves and the universe.
And remember, each one of you listening, you carry seeds within you. Seeds of light tasks, unique ways you can contribute. We all can.
Everyone has a part to play.
So, what task of light, what act of compassion, what seed of understanding is waiting for you to bring into the world right where you are?
Something to reflect on.
Definitely. We leave you with that thought. We hope you carry these insights with you, ready to reflect, ready to transform, ready to connect. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Until next time, take care and have a wonderful and blessed day.